Hello and welcome to our daily news roundup on Atlantic TV. I am Nkechi Tejere. Here are our top stories. Federal government urges states to adopt workplace safety as key to productivity. LP Caucus accuses Deputy Speaker Kalu of inciting federal government against Abia government. Aviation unions threaten fresh strike as NIMET over unfulfilled FG agreement. IMF chief, global economy performing better than feared. Salah fires Egypt to 2026 World Cup qualification with double brace. Now to the news in full. The federal government is calling on state governments across Nigeria to make workplace safety a core part of their productivity agenda. Minister of State for Labor and Employment, Nkiruka Onyediocha, made the call at the 2025 Lagos State Occupational Safety and Health Conference, themed Occupational Safety and Health as a Catalyst for Nation Building. She praised the Lagos State government and the Lagos State Safety Commission for their proactive role in promoting workplace safety and setting a model for other states to emulate. The minister reaffirmed the federal government's commitment to partnering with states and private sector players in strengthening occupational safety nationwide, aligning with President Bola Tinubu's renewed hope agenda for job creation and worker welfare. Onyediocha stressed that a safe and healthy workplace remains the bedrock of productivity and economic growth. She noted that when safety is prioritized, workers perform better, businesses thrive, and national productivity is enhanced. She urged employers, trade unions, and civil society to collaborate in building a safety-first culture across workplaces, ensuring every Nigerian worker, both in the formal and informal sector, is protected. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is expected to inaugurate Nigeria's biggest lithium processing plant in Nasarawa State following the completion of the 66,000 tons capacity facility. Governor Abdullahi Sule made the announcement during the launch of the October 2025 Nigeria Development Update, themed From Policy to People, bringing the reform gains home. He confirmed that the president had agreed to attend the commissioning, though a specific date is yet to be announced. Governor Sule added that beyond mining and oil exploration, human capital development remains central to Nasarawa's growth agenda. The lithium plant forms part of the federal government's broader drive to boost solid mineral exports, create jobs, and attract foreign investment to Nigeria's mining sector. Tinubu's expected inauguration of the plant will mark another major milestone in the administration's push for industrial expansion and economic reform. The governor explained that the project aligns with the state's vision for sustainable development and economic diversification. He also lamented that state governments receive only 26% of federal allocations, despite public misconceptions that governors receive the bulk of national revenue. According to him, 52% goes to the federal government, 26% to the 36 states, and 20% to local governments. Members of the Labour Party caucus in the House of Representatives have accused the Deputy Speaker, Right Honorable Benjamin Kalu, of allegedly working to incite the federal government against the Abia State government for selfish political reasons. In a statement issued on Wednesday, the caucus expressed disappointment that rather using his number 6 position in national leadership to promote Abia's progress, Kalu has chosen to launch verbal attacks on Governor Alex Oti. The lawmakers described Kalu's recent comments as provocative and divisive, alleging that he has adopted a pattern of spreading falsehoods to discredit the state government. Honorable Kalu has carried on with arrogance and recklessness, making inflammatory and sycophantic remarks aimed at pitching the federal government against Governor Oti, the statement said. The LP caucus also challenged the Deputy Speaker to use his national influence to attract more federal projects to Abia State rather than engage in political blackmail. They highlighted several ongoing projects initiated under Governor Oti, including the Port Harcourt Road, Ohafia Arochukwu Road, Omenuko Bridge, and the Umuahia Ikotekpene Dual Carriageway, describing them as proof of purposeful governance. The caucus urged Abians and Nigerians to disregard Kalu's empty boasts, insisting that his actions are motivated by personal ambition, not service to the people. The Labour Party members further criticized Kalu for what they called political ingratitude, recalling that Governor Oti and Abia LP lawmakers had supported his emergence as Deputy Speaker. They noted that Oti even hosted an elaborate reception in Kalu's honor, a gesture they say should have been met with cooperation, not hostility. Instead of reciprocating goodwill, Honorable Kalu has chosen to stoke political disharmony in Abia State, the caucus said. The lawmakers urged him to engage in sober self-reflection, adding that arrogance and divisive rhetoric are unbefitting of his office. Former Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi has responded to critics labeling his supporters, known as Obedience, as street urchins. In a statement on Wednesday, Obi said his brand of politics is rooted in humanity and focused on identifying with ordinary Nigerians, not the privileged elite. This comes after a viral video by former Labour Party chieftain Kenneth Okonkwo, who accused Obi of attracting classless street urchins and failing to control his supporters online. Obi further argued that the habit of looking down on the less privileged reflects the state of inequality and hardship in the country. He said, and I quote, "We can only rise by lifting others. Those who despise the ordinary citizens forget that they are the true foundation of our nation." The Labour Party flag bearer reaffirmed his commitment to people-centered leadership and inclusive governance, noting that politics must be about service, not status. Reacting to the remarks, Obi described such comments as deeply unfortunate, stressing that every Nigerian deserves dignity and respect, regardless of social or economic status. He stated, "Humanity is paramount in my politics. I have never and will never look down on anyone except to lift them up." The former Anambra State governor emphasized that his political journey has never been about mingling with the so-called high and mighty, but standing with everyday Nigerians whose voices, he said, have long been silenced by the elite. You're watching our daily news roundup. We'll go on a short break. When we come back, more news stories on the business front.
All right, my name is Desoka, the comedy catalyst of one of Nigerian comedy.
All right, guys, back again. Yes, boss. My name is Osh, baby.
Yemi Alade.
Yeah, what up, people? It's your boy Victor AD.
Girl Niniola.
My name is my wife, Ninja Celebrity type man.
My papa say, who won't carry cow, waka go, waka follow the cow. I know the life for you.
As you know, you're watching the Atlantic TV.
Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Atlantic TV.
Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Atlantic TV.
Informative, educative, interesting, entertaining.
Worldwide, international.
Don't go anywhere or I'll catch you.
Don't touch that die. Atlantic TV. Boom.
Atlantic TV. We wanna party.
Atlantic TV. Culturally inclined and uniquely different.
Welcome back. 6 months after suspending their industrial action, aviation unions have again threatened to shut down operations at the Nigerian Meteorological Agency, NIMET, over what they describe as the government's failure to honor key agreements. In a letter addressed to the Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, dated October 2nd, the unions warned that if pending issues are not resolved by next week Wednesday, workers will resume their suspended strike. The letter, signed by NOATE Deputy General Secretary Odinaka Ibokwe and ANAP Secretary General Abdul Rasak Saidu, highlighted unresolved matters including 9 months of unpaid 2019 minimum wage arrears and non-payment of 30 omitted staff members. The aviation unions further warned that if their demands are not met by October 15th, they would have no choice but to resume the suspended industrial action. They insist that workers at NIMET deserve fair treatment and fulfillment of all agreements signed earlier in the year. The unions emphasized that the next phase of the strike, if triggered, would be total, potentially disrupting critical aviation meteorological services across the country. The unions recalled that NIMET workers had previously embarked on the strike in April 2025 over poor welfare conditions, salary relativity, and non-implementation of the minimum wage. That strike was called off after Minister Keyamo intervened, leading to the signing of a resolution between all parties. However, the unions say the government has failed to fulfill its part of the bargain. According to the unions, issues such as non-adoption of salary relativity, failure to comply with circulars on staff appointments, and delays in wage awards have persisted despite multiple assurances. It is disheartening that these issues have lingered for too long, despite several interventions. Workers have shown maturity and patience, which has now run out, the statement said. The Nigerian Association of Liquefied Petroleum Gas Marketers, NAPPGAM, has accused some retailers of exploiting the ongoing shortage of liquefied petroleum gas, popularly known as cooking gas, to arbitrarily hike prices across the country. Speaking on the TV program on Wednesday, NAPPGAM President Oladapo Olatunbosun clarified that there has been no official increase in the price of cooking gas, blaming profiteering retailers for taking advantage of temporary supply gaps. According to him, the rise in prices is driven by market opportunism rather than any formal adjustment in cost. The price of gas has not gone up. People are only cashing in on the little shortage in supply to make money, which is wrong, and we frown at this as an association, he said. Olatunbosun further explained that the Pengasin strike worsened the scarcity as regulatory inspections were suspended, stalling vessel offloads at key depots. He, however, expressed confidence that once refinery operations resume fully and union activities stabilize, the supply chain will normalize. By the grace of God, in the next few days, normalcy will come. Nigerians will continue to enjoy affordable LPG once supply improves, he assured. Olatunbosun assured consumers that the situation is temporary, expressing optimism that normalcy would return in the coming days. He explained that the shortage was caused by an artificial disruption following maintenance at the Dangote refinery and a recent Pengasin strike, which slowed down LPG offloading operations. The NAPGAM boss revealed that while the Dangote refinery had previously supplied up to 50 trucks of LPG daily, operations had slowed, forcing marketers to depend on Apapa depots. The International Monetary Fund says the global economy is performing better than initially feared, despite persistent uncertainty and sluggish medium-term prospects. IMF Managing Director Kristalina Georgieva made this known during a press briefing in Washington ahead of next week's World Bank and IMF annual meetings. She said the World Bank economy is doing better than feared, but worse than we need, adding that growth is expected to slow only slightly this year and next, supported by resilience in the United States and several emerging and developing economies. The IMF chief urged nations to act swiftly to boost output, rebuild fiscal buffers, and reduce trade imbalances. She called on Asian countries to deepen regional trade and expand access to finance, while urging African nations to implement business-friendly reforms and strengthen the continental free trade area, which could raise per capita GDP by over 10%. Georgieva also challenged Europe to embrace bold reforms, warning that the continent must catch up with the private sector dynamism of the US. The 2025 IMF World Bank meetings are expected to focus on trade, debt, and global economic recovery strategies. Georgieva highlighted that the world economy has largely withstood multiple shocks thanks to improved policy fundamentals and adaptability in the private sector. However, she warned that global resilience has yet to be fully tested, especially as trade tensions and tariff policies continue to unfold. The IMF projects global growth to remain around 3%, below pre-pandemic averages, with China's slowdown and India's rise shaping future trends. Away from that now to the foreign scene, 14 soldiers have been confirmed dead following a deadly shootout reportedly sparked by a love triangle dispute among members of the country's elite security unit. According to Army spokesperson Lul Rel Kwang, the clash began after two officers, one loyal to President Salva Kiir and the other to his rival Riek Machar, engaged in a heated argument over a woman. The confrontation escalated into gunfire, leaving 8 government troops and 6 opposition soldiers dead. The South Sudan People's Defense Forces say the incident occurred on Monday at a market near the oil-rich Abyei Box region, a disputed area along the Sudan-South Sudan border. Kwang told journalists that 5 soldiers were also injured, while 1 civilian was reportedly caught in the crossfire. He maintained that the attack was not politically motivated, but rather a personal misunderstanding that turned violent. This comes amid heightened tensions in South Sudan, where a fragile power-sharing agreement between Kiir and Machar continues to unravel, raising fears of a return to full-blown civil war. The army says investigations are underway to determine the full cause of the deadly altercation. Liverpool's Mohamed Salah was in dazzling form as Egypt sealed their spot in the 2026 FIFA World Cup, defeating Djibouti 3-0 in Casablanca on Wednesday. The Pharaohs made light work of their Group A opponents, ranked 158th in the world, with Ibrahim Adel opening the scoring just 8 minutes into the game. Salah struck twice, once in the 14th minute and again late in the 84th, to cap off a dominant display. The Liverpool forward now boasts 9 goals in the qualifying campaign, ensuring Egypt an unassailable 5-point lead over Burkina Faso and a ticket to the 2026 Mundial. The 33-year-old, who has struggled for form this season at Liverpool, rolled back the years to lead his nation back to the World Cup for the 5th time in history, after appearances in 1934, 1990 and 2018, and now 2026. Elsewhere, Ghana cruised past the Central African Republic with a 5-0 win in Meknes, thanks to goals from Thomas Partey, Jordan Ayew, and Kamaldeen Sulemana, while Cape Verde edged closer to a first-ever qualification after a thrilling 3-3 draw with Libya. With Salah shining once again on the continental stage, Egypt's dream of World Cup glory burns bright as Africa's most successful footballing nation books its ticket to North America. Fresh reports have emerged revealing how Napoli successfully blocked a potential move by AC Milan to sign Super Eagles striker Victor Osimhen. According to reports, AC Milan, led by Zlatan Ibrahimovic, made a late push to bring in Osimhen a couple of transfer windows ago. Juventus were also reportedly keeping tabs on the situation, raising fears that Napoli could lose their star man to a domestic rival. However, Napoli resisted the pressure and instead restructured Osimhen's deal, adding what football insider Fabrizio Romano describes as an anti-Italy clause. Romano explained that the clause prevents Osimhen's new club, Galatasaray, from selling him to any Italian side, a move aimed at keeping Serie A rivals from snapping up the Nigerian forward. Napoli's firm stance appears to have paid off, ensuring that former talisman won't return to the Italian league anytime soon. And with that sports news, we come to the end of our daily news roundup for today, right here on Atlantic TV. Do also follow us on all our social media platforms for more updates and news stories. Thank you so much for watching. I am Nkechi Tejire. Have a pleasant day.